Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lariello, and today I'm so excited to welcome Amanda Koslosky to the show. Amanda comes on just after a really crazy and really solid 2025 season with top 10 finishes at the Pikes Peak Ascent, as well as podium finishes at the Telluride Mountain Run and the Bar Trail Mountain Race in 2025. Amanda came on the show to talk a lot about her whys and what motivates her for the sport. We also talked a lot about goals. We talked about structured training and coaching. We also talked about her background. Amanda comes from a very non-traditional background, not a traditional cross-country or track runner, but more of a soccer player, which is kind of cool. Kind of shows that you can compete at a high level without having to come into the sport from a traditional pedigree. So all kinds of good stuff there. This is a super fun episode. Amanda's a native of the Colorado Springs area, so it's exciting to have her on and just discuss her whys. So without further ado, hope you enjoy it. Amanda Koslosky.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Amanda Koslosky, welcome to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How's it going?
It's great. How are you doing over there?
I'm living the dream. It's almost
Good.
Friday. I'm doing my thing. Just got home from a run and feeling stoked. Yeah.
That I'm a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you get your run in today yet or no?
I haven't. I'm such an afternoon runner. I am not a morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't run in the afternoons. I'm like drained. I wake up so early that like by the time like 2 or 3 o'clock, like all my friends make fun of me because like by the time 2 or 3 o'clock comes, I'm like, I don't want to do anything. Like my day's over.
And see, I try to set my alarm for 6 a.m, especially on summer days, and I'm like, no, I could sleep for another hour. I'll run later. That's what I'm gonna do. So
wow.
Yeah.
Afternoon runners. You're a rare breed. Strong breed of human.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's talk about you, learn more about you. You and I have known each other for a little bit now, and like I'm super excited that we were finally able to do this. Like you've had an amazing 2025 season that I think deserves a lot of recognition.
Thank you.
So let's chat more about your story. What's your background? First of all, where are you from?
Technically, I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
That's where I was born. My parents moved us out here when I was 5. So I guess technically Chicago, but I almost consider myself a native. So they moved us out here. They owned a hot dog stand and took over from my grandpa. And so, just been living out here since, and never really got into the running scene. My dad was a runner growing up. Nothing super competitive. He liked more road, short distances, 5K. He always tried to get us to run when we were younger, and we just, my brothers and I wanted nothing to do with it. And I tried a little bit in high school, like cross country junior and senior year, and I enjoyed it, but it was more to be in shape for soccer, I guess you could say. And then just dropped off the bandwagon into college years. And it really wasn't until I would say, I started running a little bit before COVID, maybe a couple years before COVID hit, but my true like pedal to the metal, I need to take control back and kind of find my niche was during COVID time, right after COVID time, when everything started opening back up, and got pretty determined and just, hit the gym more, hit the incline more, and just started seeing improvements in my running, and it's been kind of a whirlwind since. So
I love it. It's interesting to me because, and we'll dissect your story and talk about it and get into a couple different aspects. But one of the things I really appreciated, because I see a lot of myself in you, like I didn't start, like I played soccer competitively for a very long time and then
Yeah.
stopped in my undergrad years, and then kind of like totally just didn't do anything until graduate school, which was around COVID for me. And that's when I started like running and getting very serious into the sport. And I don't know, I just find it very interesting that like you're a good pillar to show that like you don't have to come from this background of cross country and track at a super high level D1 or whatever. And and you could still do well at these races if you don't, come from that background in the sport. Like the sport is still like, I guess you could say wide enough that people from all kind of backgrounds can still compete, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, a lot of the people I watch for sure do have that running background, or they just come from that running family. And I think it just is kind of a testament to, like you said, it's just that determination, I guess, that you find in yourself. And then once you get it, I think you said it earlier, you just get addicted and you start seeing the results, and then you start feeling bad if you don't go out for a run, or just kind of getting upset if you don't PR in a race. And it drives a whole different side of you, I think. So
yeah. Let's talk about soccer. What how long did you play soccer for, and what position did you play?
Oh boy. So I was not competitive in soccer. I tried really hard. I don't think I have the hand-eye coordination. I probably started in elementary school in like a park and recs league, and just really had a lot of fun, made a lot of friends. I did play in high school. I was on the JV team. The only reason I was on varsity as a senior is because seniors had to be on varsity. So I practiced with them, but I didn't really play very much. If I played, I was more of a midfielder, so kind of that running component of it. But like I said, it wasn't anything super competitive. It was more a social aspect for me. So
super cool. And what were your college years like? Did you play any sports, or just party? Like, what would you do?
I'm like, I gotta think back, because I didn't play sports and I didn't party.
Really?
So I went to UCCS actually. I lived on campus, and so I ended up being a resident assistant. That's probably where most of my time went. Yeah, I found a good group of people just kind of being in that group of resident assistants. It was a lot smaller back then, obviously, than it is now. So we had a good group of like 25 college people who just found a similar liking to it, and that was fun for me. And then I think I might have had like little odds and ends jobs, that I would do. I worked at Cave of the Winds as a tour guide, like little things like that to pass the time. But other than that, just kind of focusing on studies. So
interesting. Yeah. So what was it with running then? Like, what did you run a 5K and you're like, oh my God, I love this. Did you run, like, was there a specific race or a specific thing that like, you're like got you like hooked on it?
So like I said, my dad growing up, he was always a runner. So even though I didn't really train a lot, I would go and run some of the races with him. Like some of the races I remember were more 5Ks. Colorado College used to have one that I would always run. And so that probably was always something I did. My mom and I started going to the gym right outside of college, I think. And that kind of got me going in terms of just like the strength training and elliptical. And my mom and I would just walk for like an hour on the treadmill, and we go for walks outside. And it's actually really funny growing up. My parents always tried to get us to go for walks with them, but they're like super fast walkers. And so our little legs could never keep up. And so when I started going to the gym and working out more, I was like, I can actually finally keep up with my mom on these walks. And so that was kind of motivating for me. But I don't know. I think it was just like a lot of little things all coming together and clicking, starting to see improvements. I do the incline a lot, so I started to see improvements on that. And I think just putting more effort into getting my body in shape made running feel a little bit easier and a little bit easier. Eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to try a 10K. So I tried a 10K a few years back, and I could do that. And then I know my mom and I had talked about we wanted to go to Disney World. So I tried a half marathon in Disney World, and it was just kind of taking each race to the next level and seeing if I could do it. And then eventually things got easier. And then I just started branching out a little bit more. I was definitely road racer at the beginning. Just, I think trails made me nervous for the animal portion of them. Didn't want to get attacked by a mountain lion or anything. But I don't even remember what my first trail race was. It might have been the Ascent that completely changed the game for me of like, no more, like I will road race, but if I could, hands down, I'd trail race any day. So yeah, just a lot of little things that kind of all came together.
And then sequentially from there, when did you make the switch and you're like, okay, like I'm good at this and I want to continue to improve?
So what year was that? I would say it was 2020, what are we in? 2023 maybe. So Golden Trail Series was at the Ascent 2 years in a row from if I remember correctly.
That's right.
And it was the second year that they were there. And I want to say it was 2023.
That's right.
That I had gone from a 4-hour ascent time and I had knocked, 20 minutes off the next year when like post COVID when things started clicking. And then I knocked another 20 minutes off. And I think the year that Golden Trail was here, I went like a 3:07. And I was actually I was a top 20 finish among some of these really elite athletes. And so I thought, if I am doing this, just coaching myself really very naive about it, I wonder what it would be like if I had a coach who understood and could help me a little bit more. And I talked with my husband, I talked with my mom and dad, and talked with my principal a lot at school to see if it was something I could possibly manage. And luckily, so many supportive people were able to make it work that I was then at that moment, I was like, I'm just going to take a leap of faith and see what we can do here. So
that's so cool. Like I just love people taking the risk and like going after something that is kind of uncharted territory. It's like, yeah, you're good at this, but you don't know how good you can be, Right. And so it's like, how do we, where do I fall into this?
Right.
By the way, that 2023 race, I don't know if you know this, but like that was mathematically, if you were to sit down and crunch the numbers, I think till to this day, that was the most competitive race ever assembled on American soil. That
really,
Pikes Peak Ascent.
There were, I think it's Nikki Brinkman. Do you remember that name?
Yeah. Nikki.
She was there.
Sophia Lockley was there. Judith Wider, Maud Matisse, everybody. Ali Mack.
Ali Ostrander.
Yeah. Everybody. So to be in the mix of a race like that is, I mean, it's gotta be amazing for you from a confidence perspective. And we'll talk about confidence in a little bit. One thing I want to pivot to is maybe talk about what it's like to take that leap and have the that must have been a very difficult decision to take a step back from what you were doing with work. I think if I remember correctly, when I was doing research for this and just talking to you before, I think it was you kind of pivoted to go more part-time in your job, right? To pursue running. Talk about that.
Yeah. So kind of like November after that race happened is when I started tossing out the idea of getting a coach and doing a little bit of research. And at that stage of my training, I was at the gym a lot, but I was probably only running about 20 miles a week. And I was still, there were long days of getting up at like 5:30 in the morning, coming to school, teaching full time, trying to get some runs in, and then not getting home until like 7:30 at night to just in time to eat and go to bed. So I kind of knew that if I was going to make that jump and really wanted to take it seriously, I was going to need to jump back at school, which is hard because I've been teaching now for 18 years. So that was at that time, 16 years of everything I knew, and where I was super confident jumping into something that I didn't know if it would work out or not. I didn't really know the ins and outs of it. So that's where I talked a lot with my husband. He is super supportive in letting me do this, take a step back. Definitely took a hit in the savings aspect, but he's right there with me whenever he can be to cheer me on. And it's been kind of fun to travel to different places and he'll get to go with me. So that's been a lot of fun. I talked to my mom and dad a lot about it, just bouncing ideas off. Like I said, I had some different ideas of how I could make it work here at Aragon, the school I work at. And had my path all planned out and talked to my principal, and she opened up a position at school that was just perfect for what I'm doing here. So she was super supportive. And I think when you are making such a big decision like that, that's what it takes, is just that community around you to not only support you, but kind of give you that confidence that you can do it. And if it doesn't work out, then you go back to what you were doing. But if it does work out, what a story it'll be. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love those stories and people chasing those goals. How do you, like, we'll talk about your why in a little bit, but like confidence and belief in yourself, like what is that like for you? Like, do you struggle with believing? Like, I know I could speak for myself as an athlete. Like I go through periods of like, sometimes I really have a lot of confidence and sometimes I hate myself and I hate the sport and I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I'm still working on it. I think I would be surprised if anyone in our position wouldn't be like coming into races just nervous wrecks, like before the ascent. My mom is so funny. She's probably the one that has been on the most trips with me and gets to see me like long time before a race, like, let's do this, Mom. Let's go to Chicago and run a marathon, up to like a couple days before where I'm pretty stoic. Like I am in my head talking to myself, thinking about like, well, if you don't do it, it's going to be okay if you don't hit your goal. But what if you do hit your goal? Like, and I'm very stoic. I'm very quiet. To then she sees me like after the race, when if it goes really well versus if it doesn't go well. So I haven't figured out necessarily how to fully get that confidence in me. I think every time I toe the line, like, and have a good race, that helps. Every time I have a decent training day, that is super helpful as well. I have a lot of people in my corner that do support me and kind of help me see that everyone has their own story. So just because I'm not like at the World Trail Championships doesn't mean that my story isn't important and that I am still doing the best at my level that I can. So just all of it comes together. But I'm still working. I'm still working on it.
I feel like I've been tussling with this a lot lately about my why and about just like this sport in general and like where just a lot of the meta stuff. And I almost feel like, you have to believe in yourself to the point of delusion. Like I really like truly like, I don't know. I've been fortunate enough to meet some of the best athletes in the sport. And like I said, I think really what it comes down to is obviously fitness is usually important, probably the biggest indicator, but at the same time too, I think what's between the ears is very important as well. And the believing in yourself to the point of delusion is just like, I don't know. It's interesting, but I think it's a legit real thing, which is kind of cool.
I 100% agree. Like I was watching a lot of those championships over in France. Is that where they were?
For Worlds or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Spain, Conference Spain.
Oh, Spain. Yeah. And just in even Golden Trail Series and watching those girls, and they all come across the line and pretty much just collapse. Like the effort and like you can just see how like they have put everything on the line for those races. And that's so inspiring. It makes me then go into my head and of like, how far could I push myself to that point where I just feel like I've left it all out there. And I think that is a huge confidence thing, especially when you have longer races, just kind of having that confidence to go all out from the beginning and trust that you're going to be able to keep it up towards the end and leave it all out there. So
true. How has your why changed from the time you started the sport to now? Like, what is your why now?
Yeah. So when I started the sport, it was more just social, like have fun, go to just stay in shape, go to the races, because races are just, they're such a good environment. I love anything from like Boston Marathon to a local 5K to a trail run. They're all just, the racing scene has just always been super fun for me. I think over the years, though I've always been a competitive person, seeing the successes that I have, my why is now achieving that next goal. So one of my ultimate whys and the biggest thing is, one of my ultimate goals, I would say, is getting a sub-3 on the Pikes Peak Ascent. So that is the super driving thing. I love that the Ascent is kind of towards the end of the racing season, just because I feel like all my other races kind of come together as training for that big moment. another why that I put in there when I decided to go part-time and do what I'm doing is I kind of like the travel scene too. Being able to go to, I'm going to Moab in a couple weeks, and I've been to Sierra and done a race in Poland. So just all over the US is just, that's another why of being able to experience the world in a different way, I guess, has been a lot of fun. So.
So cool. I mean, what a great, I don't know. It's cool to see people's whys and how they evolve over time as well. And like,
Yeah.
yours are interesting for you with Pikes. I mean,
Hmm.
it's so interesting to me because like Pikes is a funny mountain, right? It's such a weird thing. You've raced it now, what, 5 times, something like that?
Actually, I think this was my 10th.
Oh, really?
I had no idea. I don't know if you know, but they
I
put
just
on
went
the
off ultra
bibs.
sign up. Yeah, I didn't go off of like the Pikes results. I did ultra sign up. So
I would have had
got
no
me.
idea, but they put it on the bib this year of like 9-time finisher or whatever. And so I saw that and I was like, holy cow, that was 9. I think this last year was my 10th. So
That's
who would have
amazing.
known? Yeah.
And I will say 304, like you're right there. I mean, you are literally
Close.
a matter of like, it's not really fitness in the sense where it's like, you're just a matter
No.
of having a good day with pressure at the summit and you're
Right.
259. Like it's
Right there.
yeah.
Yeah. I think, where I need to, and this is actually nice in a sense, is where I need to lose some time is from the base to bar.
Oh.
Those W's get me every time. Once I get past the W's and kind of, or not the W's, but bar, and I'm on my way to A-frame, that's when like, I just am, I don't know, maybe because I'm close. I'm like, I really like the climb above the trees. That's my favorite part. So my thing is getting out of my head for the W's and up to bar. So.
Well, the race starts out so fast too. I think that's such a make it or break it section from the start up the W's to the top. And it's such an opportunity to blow yourself up. It's like, it's a very honest aspect of the race. Whereas I feel like you can hide in other sections. Like there's a small little downhill section that
Right.
to no name is not that bad. Like there's quite a few sections where I feel like you can exploit time, but yeah, if you're not running a certain pace, like on, I don't even, I should think about, honestly, the women's times escape me, but like if you're not running, I don't know, what, 650, 630 gap, somewhere in that range at that section, like, yeah, it's kind of I don't know. It's a tricky race. How did the race unfold for you this year? Was it like, were you neck and neck with other ladies racing? Were you in no man's land? Like how did it unfold for you?
No, so I'm trying to think. I started off in the first wave. It's so funny. I was actually running with Marissa. I might screw up her last name, Baranaskis. Do you know? I don't know if you know her. I think there's a different person that we both know. So anyway, a girl that moved here like a few years back, and we always end up coming in races together. And we both started out kind of with the pack, but towards the back, and we're like, man, those girls are going out fast. And so we were probably sitting back like 50th, but it's not long before you start kind of picking them off, the ones who haven't done it before. So I would have to go back and look at my numbers. The nice thing about the results is it tells you where you are at certain points in female. So kind of what I do is I settle in behind someone who I know is running a good clip, but I feel like I'm going to be able to stay with them and not just completely die. So I was running behind a girl for a long time, and she just was setting a really good clip all the way to no name. And at that point, I kind of was like, okay, I think you're feeling good. Just go around. And I was able to scoot around her and a few other girls. I was always running with somebody, but eventually I got into where I was running with a lot of guys. Andy Cornish, I know she was running, and I ended up passing her, and I was like, oh, there's another girl. Okay, let's see if we can pass her. And I looked and I saw it was her, and I was like, oh, that's like, I know she said that she was just not feeling super great that day, but it's kind of a boost when you pass someone like her and you're just like, oh my gosh, she's such a badass. And so I just felt so like, I think that helped me a little bit, be a little like, okay, you got this, keep going. And then there were a couple girls. It's hard to look back on that race because you're going to fall on your face, but I looked back a couple times and there was like this one girl who was right on my heels. So that was inspiring for me to not let up and run as much as I could. That was in my brain of like, run as much as you can, walk if you have to for 10 seconds, then run again. And then once I got above A-frame, I think I passed maybe 3 or 4 other females who they were just flatlining, and you could see, and I was feeling pretty good. So at that point, then I just put my head down and hiked and ran as fast as I could to the top. So I do know I was able to catch a couple girls at that top point though. So that was nice too.
What did you do in the lead up to the race to get more acclimatized for altitude? Like, did you do 3-2-1s or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my coach had me do 3-2-1s. He puts me on Rampart Reservoir, not Rampart Reservoir, that 14-mile loop.
Yeah. It's awesome loop. Yeah.
Love that loop. I was on Rampart Range, rode a lot, just getting a lot of hills in. I had also done the Telluride mountain run, which that thing was insane. So epic. Probably one of my favorite runs, but that was very high training because not only are you high elevation, but the gain in elevation is probably like 5,000 feet in 6 miles or something like that. So that was great training for the peak as well. And then I had done Rendezvous.
Yeah, the Rendezvous Hill Climb. Yep.
At
Great
Jackson
race.
Hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of the races leading up to the ascent, I kind of used as training races as well. So
that's amazing. And it's like such an epic race. Well, we'll talk about your season and debrief it as we go. One of the things I found so inspiring, like I bumped into you the day of the marathon and we were cheering on athletes, and like,
yeah,
I thought like one of the things that really stuck with me about you was you had kind of duked it out with Chrissy, who went on to win the race at TMR. You finished just behind her in second place. But you were at the race at Pikes Peak just after the marathons. For the listeners, the marathon's always the day after the ascent. But you were volunteering, cheering people on, and you were like making such a big deal to cheer Chrissy on as she came down to her podium finish at the marathon. So that really stuck with me. I love that level of sportsmanship in the sport.
And I think like even just like I said, I know I mentioned like Golden Trail a lot and all these other, but man, I just feel like that's across the board in this sport. Like, yeah, we all go out there and we're racing to beat the other person, but I also think we're racing more against ourselves than anyone else. And to have someone like Christy who lives local, and that was the first time I had met her, was at TMR, and she was such a cool girl. And so we chatted before, we chatted after. We've actually gone on a couple of training runs together. And so I just think this sport brings so many people together, and it's just super addictive, not only in when you're seeing personal growth, but meeting all these cool people and wanting them to do well just as much as you want it for yourself. So
yeah, it's very special. Like that level of, I don't know. It's this level of like doing battle. And then like after the fact, you become friends. Cause it's like, we're like trauma bonded because we just did this thing together.
100%. Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like, I don't know. It's a funny sport in that way. Like, I find myself being, fans of everyone. It's interesting.
Yeah. Everyone's so humble and so kind. And I mean, even I've gotten to know Christina Mascarenas over the past few months. She goes to my gym as well. So it's just nice, I think, to have someone to talk to about, oh man, I have this little nagging pain. How are you feeling? Or how did you feel after this race? Or what are you doing before this? Like just little things. And I know that some of the other people that were up at that Telluride race, they have a crew that runs together down here. So they actually all traveled up to Telluride together, got an Airbnb. So it's just a cool community.
Yeah, no, for sure. What is it like, especially with Christina and just the local community as well? Like, cause I don't know, I meet some people, like I have a lot of good friends, but like a lot of my good friends like to run by themselves. And I sometimes find myself in that spot as well. But then I'll go through periods of time where I like to train with other people. Do you ever like bounce ideas off of like Christina? Is that like, cause she's got such a resource and such a good like breadth of knowledge, like about everything with the sport?
Yeah. So I've been pretty fortunate, knock on some wood, that I haven't had any like training, like stopping injuries or anything like that. But I've always had little like nagging pains. Something always seems to be nagging me. And so a lot of times, I'll ask her questions about that. Like, hey, have you ever had this happen? Or what are some thoughts on this? And, she's the one who recommended me to the PT guy that she uses here. And he has been super great and helpful. Yesterday, my training run that I had to do 8 by 3 minutes at like a 6-minute pace. And I was telling her, I was like, I just wasn't feeling that. So I used gravity as much as I could. So I got up as high as I could on my warm up and then used gravity to help me run downhill fast. And, just her perspective on it was like, hitting that pace is hitting that pace. And it's the mental of being able to achieve that training run. And so I don't necessarily pick her brain in terms of like different training runs she does, because I kind of just watch her on Strava as much as kind of like that mental component of it. And she's just, she's super cool about just chatting through things. So
yeah, she's amazing. And one of the smartest, like interesting minds. Anybody that can run that fast down Pikes Peak and not destroy themselves.
I know.
We're talking about a tough brain. That is an interesting human.
For sure.
Big, kudos to her.
Yeah.
One thing I want to pivot to is training. So I know you've been working with a coach for a while now. Let's talk about like your training. Like what do you like? First off, I know you're building towards a race in Moab, but like, what have you guys been working on? Like, what do you put emphasis on? Is it more heart rate based training? Is it more, you had mentioned pace? Is it more pace stuff? Like, what are you guys specifically like working on?
I think so. Right now it's more pace stuff. So he's really good about taking whatever race I'm focusing on or is coming up and adjusting my training to meet that. So when we were getting ready for the ascent, it was a lot of uphill, a lot of vertical, 3-2-1s, that kind of thing. Now that we're going to Moab, Moab does have some vertical in it, but it's also going to have a lot of downhill fast. So we've been pulling in a lot more speed training. The first couple of sessions are a little rough because my legs were used to just that uphill grind, nothing super fast. So the first time he put me on a speed thing, it was like 6.5 minutes. I said, excuse me, my legs aren't there right now. But now we're working up to like that 6-minute pace of just trying to sustain for 3 minutes or whatever. So when he's having me do these trainings right now, that's a lot what we're focusing on recently is speed training. And then long runs, he has me running more trail long runs. So I was on Rampart Range the other day, just getting not only some vertical, but some pounding on my legs coming down to strengthen the quads. He's having me go out onto the pineries next week in Black Forest for the up down, because that's going to simulate more of what Moab's going to be like. So he's pretty good at really researching the races, knowing what terrain I'm going to be racing on, and then adapting my training to that. So
I like that. And he's local to the Springs, right?
Yeah. So he knows a lot of like he had introduced me to Rampart Reservoir. I know that's probably like you've lived here for how many years and you didn't know about that?
I'm going there on Saturday. It's amazing.
I love that. Yeah, it's so I can't wait to get back up there again. And so that's what's really nice about having someone local is he knows the different places to get hills, the different places to get rolling hills. So it's been helpful.
Yeah. That's amazing. You know, another great place. I don't feel bad blowing the spot up on the podcast because I know no one's going to go do it, but just the roads out east, like Black Forest and stuff like that, the dirt roads. Yeah. I know a lot of like Hillary Bohr, a lot of like the Olympic guys go out there and train, and it's awesome because it's higher elevation. It's like 7,000 feet up near like Greenland and Black Forest. And that's where I go every weekend. It's amazing. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So like I live in Falcon. Okay. And I've loved those. I mean, driving those hills. And so sometimes I'm on them. The other day I was on one and I was like, man, this would be a good running road. But there's like no shoulder. So do you ever feel
I just go where
nervous
there's no, I'll send after this podcast, I'll send you a link to where I go. Because I did one in Greenland and I thought I was going to die. But then I did another one where I found a better route that someone sent me. And I like, it's just, like it's cool. And there's like herds of elk everywhere too, which is kind of cool. I'm like, why are there elk out here? Yeah. It's cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Want to pivot really quick outside of training. One of the things that's really impressed me about you is you're 39 years old and you just keep getting like you had a banner season this year. You keep continuing to improve. I think that throws out the door for anybody that like age is just a number in a lot of ways that like, especially because you compete at short trail, you know, most of the races you're doing are 50K and under. Right. Do you attribute that to maybe starting a little bit later? Do you attribute that to your training now? Like what do you think about that?
I do think part of it with starting later has made it so my body hasn't hit that exhaustion phase, like maybe some other people who might be closer to my age. But then at the same time, I see people who are older than me crushing it too. And that's super inspiring. That makes me hopeful that I'll be able to keep improving and doing better. I think the chick who finished second or third in the ascent was maybe 42, 43. So that's just super inspiring. Whenever I see someone older like that doing what they're doing, it makes me realize, okay, maybe you could do this for like another year and then maybe another year. So, yeah, I do think that starting later and not putting so much strain on my body earlier, has made it so I'm not completely dying in my almost 40s.
I
So,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
How do you view it though? Like, I don't know, because this is like a mental thing. Like I see so many people hit 40 or 45 and they're like, I'm done. I'm going to start slowing down, or I'm going to start falling apart, or ouch, my back hurts. Like, I think that's like so mental. I think that like, if you just ignore the fact that you're in your 40s, like, I don't think it really matters. And at least that, yeah, maybe your VO2 will lose like a point or two. That doesn't really matter for most of the races that we do, you know?
Well, and I think you hit it on the head too. I'm like, it'd be interesting to do this, what I did in my 30s, to see the difference in how my body would respond. Like, I'm not going to lie. I wake up in the morning wobbling. You know, it takes me probably longer than some other people to shake off the soreness or the tiredness. But I agree with you. Like, yeah, I'm 40, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't necessarily always remind myself of that. I just try and go out and do the best that I can with what I have been given. And, you know, talking to my coach a lot, he really believes that my fastest years are still ahead of me, with the fact that I just, you know, I am still pretty new to this sport, and really going all in. Just for 2 years with him. And in these 2 years, I've learned so much about, you know, not only the training aspect of it with running, but nutrition, and still playing with that. So I know I don't have that 100% down. The recovery aspect of rolling every night and stretching every night. And so there are still things that I need to play with to make it so that I'm performing at my best. So I'm hopeful that I still have some faster times ahead of me for sure.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, honestly, like if you just take this year as a sample size and start to like look at it, you're like, oh yeah, like you have a long runway. And I just think it's so cool because, you just have more and more opportunities to continue to improve. And I don't know, like, you know, sub 3 hours at Pikes might be a thing that not just might be a thing of past next year, but you might be targeting, I don't know, 245, 250.
Right.
Like there's plenty of, runway for that, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk racing a little bit. I mean, we'll talk about some of your the races you did this season, but I'd be very curious, especially given the fact that you've run Series and all already. Like, what's a bucket list race for you? Like, what's something you haven't done yet that you want to do?
This one's closer to home, but Broken Arrow, I really want to go be part of that series. Either the 18K or the 23K. I'd be happy if I got into either one of those. So, just when you watch that whole weekend unfold, it's like that racing community, like you said, it just looks really cool. There was one in the Golden Trail series that was in Spain. Can't remember what it was called. Zegama. Yeah.
Great race.
So, I mean, I would love to run that race, but just running a race over in Spain, or, you know, any trail race over in that area, in Europe would be a bucket list race. I don't know about like UTMB getting into something like that, but I would love to run in that area, Chamonix, and get some experience in those mountains look crazy. So, local would probably be that Broken Arrow series. And then, I mean, anything over in Europe, I'd be game for. So,
yeah. That's so cool. You would crush the 18. I mean, like you easily get on the podium in the 18K, and I think like you should seriously think about doing the 23K too. Like that's like
23,
another great race, but it's just more competitive, which makes it more fun. I hope the 18K gets more competitive. I've looked at that course, in my opinion, and diehards might like hate me for this, but I think the 18K course, in my opinion, is better than the 23K course, just because it's
interesting,
just vertical wise and just shortness. It's just a different race. Yeah, I might do that next year. It's on the list. We'll see.
I know it definitely. Yeah, it was supposed to be, but I sat on my hands in terms of like registering, and so I was on the wait list for the 18K. And by the time I found out, I already had so many other races lined up, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't going to fall in. So that's going to be one that is like in for sure. So.
Yeah. So this season, you got second to TMR, you got second to BTMR.
Mhm.
I talked to you obviously just before BTMR.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How like, I don't know, like it was such a good season for you. Like looking back and reflecting, like what are your thoughts? Like are you hard on yourself? Like, oh, I've got to win these races? Are you just happy to be on these podiums? Like, how do you kind of approach it mentally?
Definitely happy to be on the podiums. It's just definitely a confidence booster for sure. I think more times than anything, I go into a race with a couple of goals, and my first goal tends to always lean towards based on time. And so the first race of the season, I started out in San Francisco on a road race, a 15K. And my main goal was to just get a sub 60-minute 10 or 15K. And I'm pretty sure I did that. That's a long time ago. Now I can't even remember. My second goal is then to always like be competitive with the girls, be in that top 3, but if not top 3, top 5. And so, some went time wise, they were good. Some podium was good, but time wasn't good. And some I missed the mark on both. So the season was definitely super fun, but there were some races that I felt a little defeated on, like Garden of the Gods 10 mile. I think I was a minute slower this year. BTMR, I was actually a little bit slower this year. I just couldn't get my legs under me on the down. So I tend to beat myself more when I don't hit the time mark versus the podium mark. So I feel like you can control time more than who shows up for the race. So.
No, 100%. Are you like looking at like basically splits before the race and kind of figuring out like, all right, coach, like I want to run an hour 10 on this or an hour 5. Mm-hmm. And like that's basically, or is it personal? Like you don't talk about it with coach? Like how does that dynamic work?
No, we do talk about it. We talk a lot about pre-race strategies. He's really helped me with understanding how to get my body going in the morning, what to eat, when to do my warm up, get some strides in, which has been super, super helpful. And we always talk even before that about, if this is our goal, this is the pace you'll have to hit for these parts. He'll even give me pointers because he dives into the races quite deeply in terms of the first couple miles. This is the elevation you're going to expect. So, grind here at this mile is when you can expect some reprieve. So kind of let your legs loose here. And at this mile, you're going to go downhill. So he breaks the course down quite a bit for me. And definitely gives me some pace, like just some idea of where I should be at different points in the race. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes I hit them, sometimes I don't. With BTMR and Ascent, really, those ones, like my splits of the different checkpoints are definitely in my brain. I try not to dwell on them too much if I don't hit them. But then definitely get really excited if I'm like, oh my God, I'm totally ahead of pace here. And so it's just, yeah, we definitely talk about, we even talk about like what kind of gear I should bring. So, and sometimes I don't know, TMR, I ended up wearing a Camelback. A lot of the other girls didn't, they just had handheld. So it's kind of hard to know on that, too, but he always gives me pointers of, I would just bring a water bottle for this one versus I would wear a Camelback for this one. And so helps definitely with that pre-race prep.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I love the well-roundedness.
Yeah.
One question I have, what did you think of Rendezvous Hill Climb? That is such a sick race. And I think it's kind of under the radar. Like, and not enough people talk about that race.
Oh, if you can do it, do it. That race is so cool. I had another race out there. Maybe, I don't know, a few years back. That was the Cirque 30K. So they have another series out there that is in that same area, and they're just longer races. So I saw this, my coach had recommended it actually, and I was like, heck yeah, any chance I can get to go to Jackson Hole, I am totally there. It was a little intimidating because Anna Gibson was there, Jane Moss was there. I can't remember the third place girl. So, that was definitely intimidating to be towing the line with them, but that course is phenomenal. It's a grind from the beginning to the end. The end, you kind of finish climbing up some rocks. And then there's just like at the very, very top, there's just a grind of a road, like a service road to get to the finish line. But kind of like Pikes has the donuts, they have a waffle like the famous waffles up there. So we were about to get on the gondola and my husband told me about these waffles. And so we had to pivot and go get one of these waffles. It was so good. So if you do it, get the waffle. And then the other cool thing is you get to hang out at the top, kind of like Pikes, and then you get to ride the gondola back down. So yeah, it's a very cool race.
And you're like destroyed, but in a different way. Like you recover so much faster because it's just an uphill race. It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it was, we drove there and we're driving back the next day and my coach had recommended a rest day on Sunday, but my legs felt fine. And so I ended up like bebopping up another ski area just because I wanted to get some more trails in Jackson Hole. And my legs were fine versus TMR. There's no way because it's downhill on my legs were done. They were out.
Yeah, TMR is a beast of a race, especially like I didn't realize like you gained literally 2,000 feet in the first like mile and a half, like on that ski road. Like it's super. One of my training partners and best friends did it. I don't know. Did you meet Brad Barrett out there? He's from Colorado Springs also. He runs for Arc'teryx, but he
yeah, I don't know.
He was out there. I think he got like 4th or 5th. He was like right in the mix. And yeah, he was like, dude, like, I don't know how many times we could have done reps on Longs Ranch Road to get me ready for this, but like that ascent is stupid hard.
It's insane. And you think that you're at the top because there's nowhere else to go. And then you turn a corner and there's just I slipped going up. That's how steep it was. Like you were just pretty much crawling up one section. And then there's like a really cool metal staircase that you have to go up towards the very end of it. And they make you go around a peak. And that's where I figured out all of their disclaimers about making sure that you realize that this is not your traditional trail race. Because we were literally like, there was no trail there. We were just holding on for dear life, hiking around the tip of this peak before we went down the stairs. It was crazy. And then you think, oh, okay, I've made it to the top. Now it's just downhill. But that downhill was steep, narrow, and rocky. So there was not, my legs had no idea what to do. But I'd do it again.
Yes. I've run the course in reverse before. There's like a smaller Telluride race a few years ago that is in reverse, and it's so much faster in reverse. It's just because it's more on the road. But man, it's a good route. Like nonetheless, it's TMR is, I think, another slept on, like really, I would like to see more elites go out there and have it be more competitive because it's starting to get more notoriety for like the longer, like the 24 and the 40, but the 13-mile course, in my opinion, I think that's the best one. They need to put a VK. I need to write to these guys. If they don't do it, I'm just going to do it myself. They need to have a VK because it's so easy. You could take the gondola down.
100%.
Yeah, it's such an easy place for a VK because we don't have a lot in Colorado. Like people might get upset for that, but like there's not a lot of places in Colorado for outside of like where you can have an actual race, like in the sense where it's either not in wilderness or it has to be in a national forest or a ski place, and you have to have a lift to be able to get people down, or else they get to walk down, which is kind of Telluride checks all the boxes. That's a great place for a VK.
Yeah, I agree. I think. My best friend actually ran that race with me because she was training for the Ascent as well. And so it was really funny because I had texted her when she was still on the mountain on the course and was asking her where she was. And she said, why does it seem like this race is going to be longer than 13 miles? I said, because it was a heavy half. I was like, I didn't tell you that beforehand, but it ended up being like 14.5 miles or something like that.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of a shocker, but I ended up running, some guy he was not feeling good. He had tossed his cookies multiple times.
Connor?
It was Connor.
Right.
Yeah. And so I ended up passing him a little bit, and then he ended up catching back up with me, and he was so cool. He just ran the rest of the race back with me on the once you got on the dirt road, and was super helpful.
Sweet guy.
Yeah. He could have flown by. He finally was feeling good, and he just hung with me, and that was kind of fun. So, yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Great experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's pivot off races. I want to get to one more thing with recovery. Like, what does your recovery look like? Like, what are you specifically doing?
So it's definitely another area of growth, I would say. When I started getting my coach, I was always one who thought smaller is better, right? So I need to eat as few calories as possible to be able to run as fast as I want. But I need to be as light as possible. And so that working with a coach has definitely changed that mindset. It's still a battle in my mind, but I've definitely learned to eat more after I run, protein, but then also learned recently that you got to mix the protein and then some carbs in there, or else the protein isn't going to do their job. And so I've been really, really trying hard to get more good carbs in, like sweet potatoes, that kind of thing. Just even bringing crackers to the gym after I run and coupling that with my Quest bar. So just kind of, I think the eating component is a huge thing. And then I have gotten a lot better at stretching, rolling, my foam roller every night. I've been using that. I do a massage. If it wasn't for the money, I do it like every weekend, but like I do get a massage once a month. And try to just kind of keep up with those little things, do some PT if I have nagging injuries. And then typically we have at least one day a week where I'm not running. And then the other thing he's really helped me with is on my non-workout days, like my easy run days, just trying to keep the pace chill. So I'm not burning myself out every day. Like I said, it's still a work in progress, but I would say over the last month, I've started to connect the dots with finding the right kind of fuel, hydration, stretching, rolling, like that recovery component for sure. So
stretching is
yeah.
magic. I just started stretching this year. Dude, game changer.
It's well, and that's like, I was like, is it the stretching part or is it the food part? Is it all of it together? But yeah, I feel like it was before TMR, but there were some weeks where it's like every run felt like I was pulling teeth, and my body was just dying. And so like I said, talked to a couple people and got some pointers, and then it's just been feeling a lot better recently. So
do you do the ice bath at all? Dude, I swear my coach hates me doing it. He's like, oh dude, that science is so old. I love the ice bath. It's like my favorite thing in the world.
I haven't done the ice bath, but I used to do cryo spa. Have you done those before?
I've done cryo before. Cryo's legit.
Yeah.
It's super. Yeah, it's kind of difficult for like 30 seconds. I didn't really, or like however long they like stick you in there.
Yeah.
It's a little chilly.
There's a place on Austin Bluffs and kind of by Fleet. I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah.
But you're in a chamber and they like your head is still above, which is good for someone who's claustrophobic. And then they just blast it. And there's a couple times I've gotten skin burn because it's so cold, but I do really feel like that was helpful for recovery. I kind of stopped doing it just because my skin was getting burnt, and every time I went, it just re-aggravated that area. But when I think or talk to someone like you or think about it, I'm like, I should go back and try that again and see, even if I did it once a week, if that would be helpful. So
yeah, I swear by the ice bath. Like I bought a cheap chiller like on Amazon, and I've got it in my garage, and I go in there like. I think Michelino had me. I think I've got to wait like 5 hours in between, like when I run and then when I get ice bath. But still, I make it like an everyday thing. I gotta say, because I have like for some reason like very tight hips. Like I'm always stretching and always like trying to fix and work on my hips. And I mean, I think that's like the reason I can like run at a high level on a daily basis is because of that ice bath. Like it helps me a ton. Yeah,
interesting. I might have to invest in one of those. The whole idea, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I'm already cold thinking about it.
I mean, I set mine. I don't set mine super cold. Like I said, it's like 49 degrees or 50 degrees.
Okay.
It's not like terrible. And I just get in there and that works for me.
And how long do you hang out in there?
I do 6 minutes. So
okay. Oh my God.
Yeah. I just I bring my earphones and just sit on my phone and try to, you know what? Like for me, the hardest thing was my feet. Like my feet would get super, I just go in there with socks, and socks seem to do the trick for me. Yeah.
Interesting.
It doesn't bother my feet. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Sitting there and eventually like around like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, it completely goes away. Like I don't feel anything. So
yeah. Wow. That's something to think about. But definitely I know a lot of people also talk about just doing the strength training to help. I don't know that that's necessarily a recovery thing, but I do love just being at the gym and doing different strength things. So I feel like that's good.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about was TRX.
Yeah.
Which you could do. Do you think that plays a role? Because like that's like very good for, I don't know, kind of full body. So that's got to like play some sort of role.
I 100% do. And I guess thinking back to some of the questions that you've asked, I started really going at TRX harder sooner than I did running. And I do think that that has helped with my running. It just, you're right, it is a full body workout. But the things that you can do with like squats and lunges and the core, definitely, it's like the classes that I run are 45 minutes. And really, if you're thinking about it, you can engage your core for that full 45 minutes with that type of workout. So I do think that that has played a huge role. It's been an interesting kind of story, not story, but just go with that, because initially when I started TRX, I actually was just a participant in the class. And the lady who was teaching it, she was phenomenal. But it was only her. And so she needed someone to sub for her, but you had to be certified. So then I decided to get certified, was able to get a couple of my own classes, and then she ended up leaving. And so now I took over her classes, and some of the people that took with her 10 years ago are still there and still coming. So definitely a different way to work out. It's fun to work out with people, and yeah, just different than hitting the weights. So
It's so cool. Can you explain to the audience like what it is, more or less?
yeah. So I think it's actually I think it's a military thing, but it's two straps that kind of tether up on a bar, or you can tether them to a door, that come down. And it's really like you do different moves based on your weight. It's body weight resistant. You can do like pull-ups or push-ups, or you can hold on to these handles and put one foot on the floor and do squats. You can put your feet into these foot cradles and do a hanging plank almost kind of situation. The cool thing is like the straps shift on you. And so they force you to really engage that core as you're doing like rollouts or even some of the upper body stuff. So that way you're not shifting to one side or moving around. It's actually really nice for people who have different injuries too. That can't, someone who might have a hip injury where they can use the hands to go down on a squat versus someone who maybe is feeling great, they can go down in a squat and then jump up. So there's just so many different levels on these straps and so many different moves that you can do, but definitely huge for that whole body workout.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's super cool. I almost got I had priced them out a bunch of times, but never went through the whole process of installing them, just because the whole full body stuff you can get on is pretty legit. So
yeah. And the actual the TRX straps are expensive, the name brand ones, but you can get some knockoffs that are just as good. And then I happen to have an unfinished basement, so can put it on a bar down there. But a lot of times they'll come with an attachment on the door. Ooh. So you can just close your door and then use them that way. So
what my favorite thing has been lately? The ski erg. I love the ski erg. That thing is so dope. It's my favorite piece of, if I do any cross training besides biking, it's usually hours on the ski erg. I love that thing.
That's funny. Huh. I don't think I've tried one of those.
So cool. Yeah. It's
high, I might have to.
10 out of 10 recommend. Yeah, I think we're almost we're at about an hour now. Do you think anything we didn't get? I wanted to make sure we told your whole story.
I don't think so. No.
What's next? So we got Moab. That's next, and then what's goals for next year?
So like I said, Pikes Peak, gonna go back at that again. It's gonna be the 70th anniversary of that race. So just PR, hopefully sub 3 hour. I am going back to Boston. That race in 2025 did not go as I wanted. It just had an unfortunate situation at the beginning where my foot found a pothole and I was down and couldn't really get back to pace after that. So we're going to go back there and keep our head up this time. I have an application into Sydney. I did qualify by 9 minutes. I don't know if that'll hold up, but if that does, then I would be doing the Sydney Marathon in August, which would be a dream vacation, going there and then getting to race on top of it would be awesome. I will 99% sure do Broken Arrow again.
Okay.
And then, yeah, other than that, I mean, I'd love to, if I don't have another race, I'd go back to BTMR. But a lot of it will just be kind of based around what other races pop up and what my coach recommends for training races. So
very cool. Very
yeah.
cool. So we got a lot of marathon blocks. I like it. We got an early season marathon block for Boston. That'll be super fun. I don't know. I feel like I think if you're going to do a marathon block, that's the time to do it, is in the spring anyway, because it's like all of our trails are usually icy or snowy anyway. So it's, might as well just build a huge base, run it on the roads. So
that's what we did last year for Boston. I think I had a couple, so I had a half marathon in Vegas, and then I had that 15K in January. So it had some trail races or road races to build up to that Boston race. We'll probably do something similar again this year. So, and then I don't know, we'll see if Australia happens or not. It'd be pretty cool though.
That'd be so dope. Yeah, the Aussies are super cool people. I don't know how they live there with the giant spiders. That's the only thing I'm not a giant fan of.
Might make me run a little faster if I see one of those. I don't know.
For sure.
But,
well, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on the pod. This is a great conversation. Wishing you the best of luck, and we'll have to do this again sometime. We'll do a round 2 after next season. So
sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
What'd you guys think? Oh man, what a fun episode. I really want to thank Amanda for coming on the pod. Super fun conversation, and just a very inspiring individual. Kind of shows that you can continue to improve deep into your 30s and even into your early 40s, and age is just a number and it doesn't really matter. So all good stuff there. Want to thank Amanda for coming on. Guys, the best way you can support her is to give her a follow on Instagram. It's going to be linked in the show notes, but you can also find her at run_KOS or _run. That's run_KOS_run. And you can find her in the show notes. And give her a follow. Let her know what you guys thought about the episode. And I'm sure she'd love to hear from all of you. So much appreciated there. Guys, the best way you could support the podcast is to give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or drop us a note. That ratings and notes help more than you know and more than you think, so as far as just the discoverability of the show, so definitely do that. That would be much appreciated. And then last but not least, you can also support us by supporting our brand partner, Ultimate Direction. If you hop on over to ultimatedirection.com and use code SteepStuffPod at checkout, again, that's SteepStuffPod, one word, that's going to get you 25% off your cart. And most importantly, just check out some of the new stuff they dropped. The new Race Vest 6-liter and Ultra Vest 12-liter vest are super badass. They're awesome, beautiful colorways. This new onyx black color along with this green, as well as this beautiful white with this beautiful blue edging on it. It's really cool. So really beautiful colored vests, aesthetic colorways, and just super functional, very dynamic and stretchy. Definitely unlike some of the other vests that have dropped in previous iterations. So definitely something to check out, as well as the pole quiver. Pole quiver is awesome. Big fan of the pole quiver. If you guys are pole people, you're going to need something to hold the poles. So definitely check out their quiver. It goes well on any of their vests. Last but not least, if you're a belt guy or gal, check out the Comfort Belt. Comfort Belt is dope, and their race belt is also, or utility belt is also awesome as well. So check all that out. Use code SteepStuffPod. That's one word, SteepStuffPod, for 25% off. Guys, thanks so much. I've got some great conversations coming your way. Hopefully these episodes are good for your long runs on the weekends and help you get you through your runs. So really appreciate you guys supporting, and have a great rest of your week.